I'm just going to say a couple of words right now about this whole unemployment situation with the United States Senate. And I am not going to blame Republicans, and I'm not going to blame Democrats for this. Because while 40 Republicans and 1 Democrat voted to get rid of unemployment for 2 million Americans and hundreds of thousands more as the weeks continue, the bottom line here is that this is not a partisan issue. This is an issue that has been in Washington for many, many years, well before this particular Senate took office. That problem is that instead of doing what's right for the American people, the ideological nonsense that goes on a daily basis in Washington continues to make things impossible to get done, and to get done well in Washington, D.C. We've seen a jobs bill that has not created jobs. We saw what happened last week when just 3 votes shy of getting an extension for the people who need it the most, many in the Senate said, go F yourself. Find a way to find yourself in better economic shape. And if we don't extend it, you can find a way to get yourself a job that pays you $5 an hour. That won't pay any bills. What they forget is that, unfortunately, that most people get about $300 a week in unemployment. And what they also failed to remember is that while it would cost the federal government some money, that anybody who is collecting unemployment is doing so not because they are lazy and not because they don't want to work, but because they paid into an insurance fund in case the day came when they were to be laid off. The people who are unemployed in this country are not unemployed for the most part because they quit their jobs. They are unemployed because companies downsized and companies went to a smaller workforce and had less people doing more work on a daily basis. Unfortunately, the people who don't get that are the United States senators, the people who can take off a week on the 4th of July and go home and sail around the country on their yachts and have barbecues at their in-ground pools in their mega mansions in some of the classiest and wealthiest neighborhoods in the United States. While the people they've forgotten about, people like me and others who watch this show on a regular basis, struggle to find enough money, not just to do things that are fun during the summer, but to put a meal on the table and to feel that they can be nourished by something. These senators have forgotten every single person. They have forgotten that it was not the people who were laid off and who did it on purpose. No, that did not happen. July of 2009, when I was told that I was being laid off, I didn't walk into the office and say, could you please let me go? I was called in and told I was being let go, and 3 younger people at substantially less salaries were hired in my place. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for my original salary either, but it was what was given to me because too many companies realized at one point in time, we've got the money, let's get the top talent, and we'll pay them top dollars. And they realized that in many cases, they were in over their heads. Unfortunately, it continues, and the people in this country are suffering, and the people who are unemployed are suffering as well. And they are not, and I am not, asking for a handout from the United States government, because I have worked and worked my ass off for many, many, many years, and I have paid into the unemployment system. And when I needed it most, the United States Senate told me, Kev, we're sorry, you're shit out of luck. And they've told 3 million other people the exact same thing. All of the money that comes back to people who are unemployed is money that we who are laid off have contributed to as well. In the fiscal year 2009, I paid $45,000 to the federal government in income taxes. $45,000. And all I need right now is a small check to help me get through the day-to-day nonsense that happens on a daily basis. And you know what the United States Senate said to me? Again, no thanks. We're glad we have your $45,000. We're glad that that money that you paid in your income tax was more than 50% of your annual salary. But when you need it most, you better turn your head away, because there ain't nothing we're going to do for you. This, folks, is the most incompetent U.S. Senate ever in the United States of America. From the top to the bottom, people like Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell are two of the most buffoonish morons who have ever roamed this earth. One's a Democrat, the other's a Republican. Harry Reid should be ashamed that he did not pull this and make it a separate bill so that it wouldn't get caught up in billions of other dollars of useless pork barrel spending. And Mitch McConnell has his head so far up his ass he can't hear anymore, and he can't decipher what's realistic and what's fake, because this man has toyed with the lives of millions of people to the point where people are going to start to go and get desperate. I'm fortunate not to be in that position, but I can't imagine the family of four who was relying on that money, who has exhausted their savings, who has depleted its 401k retirement account, having to tell their two children, we're sorry, but we don't have food to put on the table for you to eat tonight because we don't have any money left, and the government is not giving the money that we earned back to us. I'd like to see how some people who have said adding to the deficit will hurt their children in the future. What about their children right now? What about the children right now who are starving and not eating because this Senate has sat on its ass for the last 3 months and done absolutely nothing to help the people who need it the most? Think about this for a second. This is not a partisan issue. This is a human rights issue. And as far as I'm concerned, this United States Senate has failed, and failed miserably. And until they get their heads out of their asses, it's unfortunate, but nothing of any good will ever come. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, everybody. Kevin Canessa from Middletown, New Jersey. We'll see you tomorrow at 7.